Hi folks, the following video was recorded using this style as our example. We have since switched to this style right here. The difference being this one was cut from fiber and glued together. This one's 3D printed. They are both identical dimensionally and they install the same way. Additionally, I erroneously stated that these fit model years 1999 through 2006 or 2007 Chevrolet trucks. They actually fit model years 2003 through 2007 Chevrolet trucks. Hi folks, Howard at Ragland Piano Company. Normally I am doing videos about piano parts and restoration. We do manufacturing of parts and distribution of parts. But today we're going to do one that's a little bit off topic for me, and that is repair of a Chevrolet Silverado power window switch. Specifically, this is from a 2005, although I believe the models that are similar range from 99 to about 2006 or so. And it seems to be a fairly common problem. It's one that I've had to deal with before, and that's where one of these little toggles right here breaks off. And when I shopped around and I found out these things are very, very expensive, and I said, well, there's got to be a fix that we can do in-house, and we figured something out. So, Casey, I'm gonna have to reach past you here and get my little switch. There we go, got my little switch, the part that broke off. Specifically, this is going to work if the part that broke is these little ears that are supposed to be sticking up right here and here, and the white nylon part here is still intact. Those circles there are still intact. And that's what we have here. So, and also, of course, you want to test the switch and make sure it's still functional. Make certain that these switches are still operating the window like it should, and while you're at it, check any other functions that are on your particular version of this switch. But it's a fairly simple fix. We've put a little kit together that includes this little insert right here that's going to replace the ears that were broken off. And we've got a pin to hold that insert to the original switch, and just a little dowel here that may come in handy depending on your situation. What I found I had to do with this one is we insert this where the circle, the hinge, the area it pivots on, is pointed back towards the switches. This would be toward the front of the vehicle. This is toward the rear of the vehicle. And insert that as far as it'll go. It has little stops where it indexes, and it won't go too far in. And you want to make sure that you can see that entire circle. This one's just a little bit, it may be a little bit tight. Depending on where your part broke, that circle may not be showing. So I always do a dry fit, and then I'm going to go ahead and sand this one. That's one reason I include a little piece of sandpaper and a little dowel. We can go ahead and just make certain that section is not going to be in the way of our pin. Now, you do not want to affect this edge here or this edge here, because that's what the insert indexes on to make sure it's at the proper height. If it's too tall, your switch will have a lot of slop to it, and if it's down too far, then it would probably engage one of the switches when you didn't want it to. So I'm going to do one more check here, and I can see, I see enough of that hole right there that I feel pretty good. And I'm just going to dry fit this for now for the purposes of the video. The glue that I recommend using is E6000. We don't include that in our little kit that we're going to put together, but we do have it in the store. You can pick it up on Amazon, eBay, you can pick it up in Walmart. So there wasn't really much of a need to include an entire tube for something this small. But that's what I would recommend gluing this in with. And don't put the glue on this part. Put the glue around the rim here. That way any excess squeezes down into it and not up around here where it could affect the function of the switch. So basically, I'm kind of divided on which way I would want to do this, whether I want to pin this to the switch first or push it in and then pin it all together. It seems to have a little bit better success. It's easier to do with it mounted in this little plastic tower here. And I just line this up this way here, make sure that we're lined up all the way, take the little pin right here. This is designed to be a force fit in that red insert and not too tight in the switch so the switch operates smoothly. So you can see there we have a little bit of slop, which is roughly comparable to an unrepaired switch. So we have just a little bit of slop there, and once that's glued in, you know, it's not going to come back out. It'll still come out here since I didn't glue that. And I did that on purpose to show that if necessary, you actually can, without disassembling this entire part here, if you have enough relief there, you can actually sneak this in without having to completely disassemble the door panel and everything. So that's how that works right there. And I'll put a link below for the little kit that we're putting together. And hopefully that'll save you some money. You won't have to buy a switch.
3, 2, 1.
All right, folks, so I wanted to show you what it looks like to put it together without the insert already installed in the switch. So basically what we'll do here is just take the insert and the switch cap, or whatever this is called, put the two together. And as I mentioned earlier, this is going to be a force fit right here for this pin. I've actually had this one in and out a couple of times during the filming of this video. So it may require a little bit more force the first time it's put in. But here's what we're going to do. We're going to line this up. We're going to start that pin in right there. And then another purpose for this dowel is to be able to use it to push that pin in, and then make sure you use the skinny end to go ahead and push that. Woo, that is tight right there. And you want to have about an even amount showing on each side. So I'm going to push that one a little bit further. And there we have an even amount. That pin should not walk out because it's a force fit inside this part, and it allows the nylon part here to rotate freely around that pin. So there's just a quick view of what it looks like to put it together away from the switch. Hey folks, on the event that this is too tight a fit, I actually cracked this one playing with it. But in the event that it's too tight a fit going in here, we want a little bit of a force fit, but if it stops, it won't go. Take a minute and use the sandpaper that we include to just kind of clean the sides up a little bit. Now these two sides right here are flat. There's no issue with just setting them on here and giving it a little bit of a scrub on a nice flat surface. I recommend doing that as opposed to doing this because you can round the edges off. So we're just kind of clean the two sides up a little bit like that. Let me do it where you can see it better. We're just going to scritch it like that. Now, the other two sides have a little bit of an overhang. And this is the overhang that stops the downward travel when you insert this into that broken tower right there. So you'll need to have a surface either hanging over the edge of a table or hanging over the edge of a small piece of wood so you can sand it like so and not damage this overhang that sticks out from here up. So we will just kind of clean this off right here. Get this a little better where you can see what I'm doing. Line that overhang up right there and just give it a few strokes there to clean that side up, this side up here. And that'll let you slide it in a whole lot easier. And then we're going to glue it in. I think I mentioned this earlier in the video. What we want to do, we don't want to put the glue on here and then stick it in, because that's going to create a bead of glue around an area where you don't want a bead of glue. So I really recommend putting some inside here. This will actually help me out since I cracked that little piece right there. I'm going to put little pieces inside right there like that, and then just work this in right here. Let that dry. Then we'll piece everything together and off we'll go.